Sharad, thank you for joining our first ever mobile podcast. We've never shot on location like this, but we're here at PTC 26.
Yep. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So we're actually on opposite ends of the earth, right? You're in India,
Yep.
and I'm in Denver, and that's probably about 12 hours apart. So I think it's the best for our first time. It's best to have someone who we're on the opposite ends of the earth, and we could be here in the same room.
Yep.
We're not 12 hours apart. So tell me, you're with Sify.
Yes.
You're CEO of Sify.
Yes.
Data centers. Tell me a little bit about Sify. I understand that it's an Indian data center.
Yes. Yeah. Sify is India's first data center company. Sify launched India's first rated 3 commercial data center back in September 2000. This is 25 years since then. We are celebrating 25th year of data center design, build, and operation. We kept up with the time. We maintained our leadership position. We are the third largest data center company of India. From that beginning in 2000, we are now 188 megawatt of operational data center capacity. And, we are looking at least doubling it in the next few years, if not beyond. When we did our first large campus, we felt 300 megawatt campus was good enough. Doesn't look like it's anymore, so we are thinking now gigawatts.
India is not alone in that.
Yeah.
Everywhere that we went from something that was so small. You know, in retrospect, it was large at the time, but it has now become small.
Yeah. So we are keeping up with that and making sure that we are able to address all kinds of demands. We grew also with the time in the manner that first it was enterprise, and when hyperscalers came in, we were the first ones to host them. Then it grew with the hyperscalers. Now hyperscalers are bringing liquid cool kind of a setup, so we are growing with that. And then there are also, we are seeing the need for edges in the near remote cities, so we are setting up the edges also. In fact, our first edge data center went live in a city called Lucknow last quarter. We are looking at bringing another live in Chandigarh, and then looking forward to bringing some more live.
In some major data center markets, of course, Mumbai,
Yes.
Nova,
Mumbai and south in Chennai, north you can call National Capital Region, which is Delhi, but more in Noida, which is the neighboring city.
And then what, in terms of the edge, right? I'm more familiar with the North American market and this sort of thing, but edge in India, is it just, how do you think about edge in India? It's obviously smaller data centers. I guess that would be the first.
So edges, the way we see it is obviously based on the utility. It is for caching purpose. It is for probably in the future for the inferencing purpose. But the primary need is network optimization, network caching, data caching, so that the customers could be, or the streaming companies, or social network, or content companies could be closer to the customers.
Mhm.
But the key piece is now the demand has increased from few tens of kilowatts or few hundreds of kilowatts into megawatts, and a kind of a telco switching center is not anymore a good edge, what used to be called edge in India.
Yeah.
It needs a critical facility which is rated 3 redundant data center. So we think of that way, a rated 3 data center anywhere between 1 to 10 megawatt of the capacity could be called edge. And that's how we are thinking about it also.
So, of course, edge is kind of outside those major markets, but also the key thing is also internet connectivity. Connectivity. So, if you don't have connectivity local in that either that data center or that edge market, then it has to happen through Mumbai or another interconnection node. So, are you also kind of solving
Yes.
that piece?
Yes. Yeah. So Sify as a whole organization is a network organization also. Sify since last 20 years, have been focusing on enterprise network business. It is a licensed company. In India, you need telecom license, communication license to be able to do wide area network services. So yes, so Sify is establishing those national backbone. Have established and expanding it. Sify has presence in hundreds of cities in India, where it connects some of the largest, most expansive customer base, connects them. So these edge data centers are the connected data centers. Yes.
So, and then from that perspective, if Sify has that network, it sounds like there could be more, and we didn't talk about this before, but could be more potential edge locations. Almost not infinite, but there are many more based
Correct.
on where your network is. You can continue further out on the edge.
Yep. Idea is that only that
Yeah.
as it grows organically, secularly, the demand grows. The idea is that these edge sites should be everywhere.
Yeah.
In the fullness of time, I would say that it has to be at least in every single state of the country. India has close to 30 states and union territories. The local administration units. I would say that every geography should have that.
Yeah, that would make sense. You said 30 states, effectively. Okay. So let's talk about, historically, like at least when I thought about India, that the electrical grid was not as stable. And my information was 10, 20 years old, and that sort of thing. So maybe talk to me about the grid in India and how it supports the data center infrastructure. Is it stable? Are you doing things to stabilize the grid, or what are your solutions from that perspective?
No, Indian grid is reliable and is stable now. At least ever since I'm operating the data centers for the last 10 years. And the high voltage connections that typically the data centers will take at 220 kV or 400 kV, these have extremely high reliability. So look at Indian power infrastructure in the ways that there is a surplus generation capacity. India has close to 500 gigawatt of generation in comparison to that peak demand closer to 250 gigawatts. So there is that. Second is a lot of generation capacity, additional generation capacity in India is coming from renewable sources. So huge investments in solar and wind. Government of India has taken initiative to involve private sector in the nuclear. And whenever that research happens and conclusion happens and small modular reactor starts coming in, let's say 10 plus years down the line, then there will be the nuclear also available. So enough energy available, enough renewable energy available to be able to give our customers confidence and the community confidence that the data centers are using renewable power with least impact to the environment. And then energy security of the long term, because for the base power, you still need something to replace coal and gas that assures you 24/7 supply.
Yeah.
So that way, no, it is great. 220 kV connection that comes to our 300 megawatt campus. I haven't seen any non-scheduled downtime in this campus for last more than 2-3 years.
So part of that solution, it sounds like connecting directly to the transmission
Exactly.
network rather than the distribution.
distribution infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is the art of site selection, that you want to make sure that you take a land which is closer or even right next to such transmission lines, and with that you assure that there is a good energy reliability.
I know in the U.S. and Europe as well. Singapore. There's so many markets out there that are limited on power, and when you talk about those numbers, like the generation of the Indian grid is about 500.
Yeah.
The usage about 250. There's a lot of unused in the middle.
Yes, yeah. And then the way to look into is that whole 500 is not probably the round the clock.
Yeah.
If you normalize it,
Right.
it will get closer to what the usage numbers are.
Okay.
So that way to look into it.
Yeah.
But also to look into it this way that consistently more generation capacity is being added. And this 500 used to be only 400 just 2 years back.
Okay.
So the more and more generation capacity being added. So there's no way there is a constraint on the power. The other way to also look into is that currently data centers in India must be consuming no more than 2 gigawatts. That's less than 1% of the peak demand.
Yeah.
And even if this demand with the giga scale kind of a growth happens to be 10, 20 gigawatt during this period, generation capacity also likely to scale similar way. So it won't be more than 4% of the overall peak demand.
Yeah. Careful what you wish for. The hyperscalers are coming. They'll take down all the gigawatts. You'll be ready.
No, bring it on. Bring it on, really. In fact, I would like to motivate everyone to come to India because there is a good, not just the good power and infrastructure, but the regulatory wise, government is super supportive to the data center industry. The main drivers are that the government and in general the private sector also wants to keep data within India, Indian data in India. India is taking strides or initiatives now to grow India-based cloud service providers also. So with all those factors, good amount of assurance coming from the regulatory bodies also.
And a large population. The largest, I think.
And the local demand, lots of local demand.
So thanks for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. At PTC, taking some time out here to join on our first ever episode live.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast, and looking forward to stay connected.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.